In the bustling streets of Brooklyn, New York, the stage was set for one of America's most infamous tales. Meet Alphonse Capone, born in 1899 to Italian immigrants Gabrielle and Teresina Capone. Their dream, a better life in the land of opportunity. The Capones, a family of 10, eked out a living in a cramped New York apartment. Gabrielle, a tireless barber, and Teresina, a skilled seamstress, worked hard to make ends meet for their 8 children. Young Alphonse was a bright student in his Brooklyn elementary school, but life had other plans. After repeating the 6th grade, he found himself drawn to the vibrant chaos of the Brooklyn docks. Skipping school became a routine for Capone. And one day, a clash with his teacher changed everything. The principal's punishment sealed the fate of Capone's formal education. The Capones moved to the outskirts of Park Slope, seeking a better life. Little did they know, this neighborhood shift would be a catalyst for young Alphonse's encounters with both love and a darker path. In Park Slope, fate played its hand. He crossed paths with Mary May Coughlin, marking the beginning of a personal journey intertwined with the criminal underworld. In the streets of Brooklyn, a young Capone found himself entangled with the charismatic Johnny Torrio, a figure who would become a significant influence in his life. Torrio, running a numbers and gambling operation near Capone's home, enlisted the young Alphonse for small missions. Their bond deepened even when Torrio left Brooklyn for the sprawling streets of Chicago in 1909. In Torrio's absence, Capone initially stuck to legitimate work, finding employment in a munitions factory and later as a paper cutter. Though he dabbled with street gangs in Brooklyn, his involvement remained mostly uneventful, with only occasional skirmishes. The turning point came in 1917 when Torrio introduced Capone to Frankie Ellie, a notorious gangster. Capone found himself working at the Harvard Inn in Coney Island, employed as a bartender and bouncer. It was here that Capone's life took a dark turn, and he earned the infamous moniker Scarface. One night, a heated exchange led to a physical altercation. A punch followed by a vicious slash across Capone's face left him with 3 indelible scars, etching his place in history. As Al Capone's life unfolds in the Windy City, Chicago, a new chapter begins, marked by family, ambition, and the tumultuous era of Prohibition. At the age of 19, Capone tied the knot with May Coughlin just weeks after the birth of their son, Albert Francis, with Johnny Torrio as the godfather. Capone, now a husband and father, aimed to provide for his family. Seeking an honest living, he took a job as a bookkeeper in Baltimore. However, life took an unexpected turn when Capone's father passed away in 1920. Torrio, now presiding over a thriving enterprise in Chicago, invited Capone to join him. The call of opportunity led Capone to the city of big shoulders. In the wake of the 18th Amendment in 1920, which prohibited the sale of alcohol, Torrio shifted his focus to a more lucrative venture, bootlegging. Capone, with his street smarts and number-crunching skills, quickly rose through the ranks, becoming Torrio's trusted partner. However, Capone's blazing lifestyle attracted attention. A drunken driving incident led to his first arrest, but Torrio's city connection swiftly intervened. Wanting a fresh start, Capone cleaned up his act when his family joined him in Chicago, settling in a modest house on the south side. The winds of change blew in 1923 when a reformist mayor threatened to clean up Chicago. Torrio and Capone, anticipating trouble, shifted their operations to suburban Cicero. But the 1924 mayoral election there brought its own challenges. To ensure their candidate's victory, Capone and Torrio initiated a shocking intimidation effort during the election, leaving some voters dead. Chicago responded by sending in the police, leading to a tragic incident where Capone's brother Frank was gunned down in the street. In 1925, after surviving an assassination attempt by rival mobsters, Torrio made the crucial decision to leave the criminal world and return to Italy. The empire was handed over to Capone, who, against advice, embraced a high-profile lifestyle. Scarface moved his headquarters to the lavish Metropole Hotel in downtown Chicago, defying the counsel of maintaining a low profile, luxurious living, extravagant spending, all in cash to leave no trail. Newspapers estimated his annual revenue at a staggering $100 million. The press hung on Capone's every move, painting him as a flamboyant figure with a gregarious and generous personality. Some saw him as a modern-day Robin Hood, a dissident fighting against Prohibition. Gaining public sympathy. In 1926, when two of Capone's enemies were spotted in Cicero, he ordered a deadly retaliation. Little did he know that the hanging prosecutor William Mick Swinging was among them, leading to a triple homicide. Outraged, the public demanded justice. Unable to find evidence for the murders, the police raided Capone's businesses. Though they lacked proof for the killings, they unearthed documentations that would later play a pivotal role in the charges against Capone: income tax evasion. Responding to the escalating violence, Capone called for a peace conference among Chicago's criminals, resulting in a temporary truce. Unfortunately, the peace lasted only 2 months as the shadows of brutality continued to loom. By early 1929, Capone reigned supreme in Chicago's illegal liquor trade. However, the lucrative bootlegging business attracted rivals, and among them was the relentless Bugs Moran, a longtime adversary who had previously targeted both Torrio and Capone. Seeking to eliminate the threat, Capone and his top hitman Machine Gun Jack McGunn devised a plan to kill Moran. The stage was set for a brutal confrontation. On February 14, 1929, McGunn's gunsmen, disguised as police officers, executed 7 of Moran's men in a cold-blooded massacre inside the North Side garage. Bugs Moran, alerted to the danger, narrowly escaped the slaughter, while Capone was residing in his Miami home at the time. The public and media immediately pointed fingers at him, labeling him public enemy number 1. The infamous Street Valentine's Day massacre stained Capone's legacy even in his absence. Resident Herbert Hoover, responding to public outrage, ordered a federal crackdown on all Capones, focusing on income tax evasion. The Supreme Court's 1927 ruling on taxing illegal gains provided a solid foundation for the case against Capone. On June 5, 1931, the US government indicted Capone on a staggering 22 counts of income tax evasion. The legal net was tightening around the notorious gangster. Despite solid evidence, Capone, confident in his ability to escape with a minimal sentence, struck a plea bargain for a 2.5-year prison term. However, when the judge refused to honor the argument, Capone withdrew his guilty plea, leading to a dramatic trial. During the trial, Capone deployed his most potent weapons, bribery and intimidation. His confidence seemed unshaken. Yet at the last moment, the judge made a surprising move, opting for an entirely new jury. The new jury found Capone guilty, and on that day, the notorious Scarface was sentenced to 11 years in prison. The empire built on crime was now facing the consequences of its leader's actions. In the twilight of Al Capone's life, a series of events unfolded, further shaping the legacy of the notorious mobster. As Capone's health deteriorated, he experienced a complex journey marked by compassion, medical treatments, and family moments. Released from prison on November 16, 1939, due to failing health, Capone found himself at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore for the treatment of syphilitic paresis. Despite his unsavory reputation, Johns Hopkins declined to treat him. Union Memorial Hospital stepped in, offering compassionate care. In gratitude, Capone donated 2 Japanese weeping cherry trees in 1939. After weeks of inpatient and outpatient care, a weakened Capone left Baltimore on March 20, 1940, heading to his mansion in Palm Island, Florida. In 1942, the introduction of penicillin brought a glimmer of hope, slowing the progression of the disease, although too late to reverse the damage to his brain. In 1946, physicians examining Capone concluded that he had the mental capacity of a 12-year-old child. Despite his diminished state, he He spent the last years at his Palm Island mansion, surrounded by family and cherishing moments with his wife and grandchildren. On January 21, 1947, Capone suffered a stroke. Though he regained consciousness and showed signs of improvement, bronchopneumonia took hold. On January 25, surrounded by his family in Palm Island, he passed away after a cardiac arrest, his heart failing as a result of apoplexy. A private funeral was held in Chicago a week later, marking the end of an era, originally laid to rest at Mount Olivet Cemetery in Chicago. Capone's remains, along with those of his father and brother, were moved to Mount Carmel Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois in 1950. As the final curtain fell on the disturbed life of Al Capone, we witnessed the rise and fall of a man who etched his name into the annals of American history. From the gritty streets of Brooklyn to the lavish halls of power in Chicago, Capone built an empire that captured the imagination of the nation. His journey, marked by cunning, brutality, and a certain audacious charm, left an indelible mark on the landscape of organized crime. As the years passed, Capone's once mighty empire began to crumble, the echoes of his reign fading into the shadows. The Street Valentine's Day Massacre, the legal battles, and the relentless pursuit of justice cast a long shadow over his legacy. Yet despite the demise of his criminal empire, Al Capone remains a larger-than-life figure. His name, synonymous with the era of Prohibition, is woven into the fabric of American folklore. Capone's story is a cautionary tale of the perils of power and the inevitable consequences of a life built on crime. Even in the face of his own mortality, Capone's image endured. From the cold-blooded killer to the charismatic mobster, he remains one of the most captivating figures in the lore of organized crime. The films, books, and tales inspired by his life continue to resonate, ensuring that the legend of Scarface lives on, a testament to the enduring allure of a man who, for better or worse, left an indelible mark on the American underworld. And so, as we reflect on the life and times of Al Capone, we acknowledge the complex legacy of a man whose empire may have faded, but whose name will forever echo through the corridors of criminal history, securing his place as one of the most infamous figures in the world of organized crime.